Channel. It's David Christie here again tonight for the special season finale of More Female Racers Season 5, powered by Mercedes-AMG, and that means one thing, that none other than Sam Pearce joining me yet again here in the commentary booth. And somehow, Sam, it's round 5 already. Where has the past couple of weeks gone?
I have no idea, David. And it's just crept up on us. It's been such an amazing season. Just really great racing every single round. And yeah, sad to see the end of it, but excited to see what's going to come tonight.
Yeah, so many championships still to be decided. We've got the Pro GT4s on the line, the Silvers, and the AM class as well. A very good evening to Brando GT3 Racing, who's been joining us through the entirety of the season. But also, a quick note that our very own Sam isn't doing too well tonight. She's feeling a bit poorly, but soldiering on. So Sam's going to be leading the commentary tonight. We're just going to throw her under the bus, and she's going to do all the commentary by herself. Nah, I'm not joking. But you know, joking aside, right, we look at the championships here, right, we've got Honor Rose and Olu Gobi. That championship fight has just been going absolutely hammer and tongs. However, I would say advantage surely has to be with the likes of Honor Rose just now. Hold that in mind. We'll go to the Silver class just now, and again, it's another 2-horse race here. April Carlsvard and Ruby Acosta still fighting it out. I think April Carlsvard does have the upper hand with that one, and then with the AMs as well, Celine Witcher ahead of Cosmo Marsh. Cosmo being put down from that. In fact, no, it went from AM to Silver. Yeah, sorry, it's completely confused. So I'm saying Cosmo back down in AM, so we'll have to figure out what's on that one. My brain completely melted because it was the other way about. Of course, Cosmo came from Silver back down to AM. See, this is why I don't get left to my own devices here, Sam.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to be leaving me to my own devices tonight either. And hopped up on cold and flu meds. Yeah, it's going to be fun for the two of us to try and get through this and manage all the computations that we're going to need to do throughout the race. But we shall do our best.
Epinephrine is your best friend. Confirmation there of what happened last time out, and what a season we have had already. We started the season back in October at Nürburgring. We went to Brands Hatch, then we went to Imola and to Kyalami last time out. And 2 weeks ago on December the 5th, we end the season tonight here with two 30-minute races at Spa-Francorchamps, and a track really that is synonymous with GT3 racing. However, that never gives the drivers an advantage, does it? It always has its own unique thrills and spills.
It does, yeah. I mean, this is such an iconic track, but it's also a really difficult track to get right. You're right, it's the track that, you know, everybody knows, everybody loves, but it's difficult to get a good, consistent lap here. The lap is so long, and with, you know, then the very start and up the hill and on Radion and Eau Rouge, get that wrong and, you know, it's your entire lap gone. But it's so early on in the lap, it can be really demoralizing. and really, really difficult to keep your spirits up on such a long lap here, but such good fun when you do get it right.
Absolutely, 4.3 miles long, one of the longest tracks that we've got here on the thing just now. We've got qualifying going on just now, so again, for one final time this year, let's explain that down for you. It's a 30-minute session broke into 3 10-minute mini sessions. Then you've got the AMs, you've got the Silvers, and then you've got the Pros. So the AMs are on first as Assetto taking a slightly interesting line through up through Lecombe there, gets the car down fairly there, but again, with qualifying, it's so important, is it, especially with the Silvers and the AMs, to get that sort of position out on track?
It is really important, yeah, but when with track limits, really easy to fall foul of around here. Getting a good lap in, and then let's face it, 10 minutes doesn't give you enough time to do lap after lap, and around here you've got to be on the ball pretty much right out of the gate. Personally, what I like to do around here is just get a nice steady banker in, so at least you've got a time on the board, then push. But it's very easy to just go hell for leather as soon as you get out of pit lane, because you're so conscious of time clicking down. So it'd be interesting to see if we do have any drivers who fail to hit a lap time today because of those track limits and the limited time.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the things they're going to have to definitely watch out for sure. What we'll usually see from the early stages of this season is that it usually goes, as you said, to the banker lap in about the next lap or so. Then they'll perhaps come into the pits, get their final aggressive settings done, and then get back out there to put in one or two fast laps where they possibly can. To remind you of the standings then towards the top, then Celine Witcher, Cosmo Marsh and Eris Aphelion are going to be the main drivers in contention, you would think, tonight. You've also got Strix9 Pulsatrix, who has had a very late charge in the championship, but I believe is out of contention for the championship. I'll confirm that very shortly, because they are 40 points behind Celine Witcher, so it may still be mathematically possible, potentially, but again, whether it's actually realistic at all means that all three drivers in front have to have an awful race here and not score any points, which is mightily unrealistic, but not impossible here at Spa, because as you said, all hell does tend to break loose. And I am putting this off, but we are going to have to come to the point of thinking about coming up Eau Rouge and Radion with about 30 odd cars, and it's not a pleasant thought, I'll be honest with you, Sam.
No, it isn't. There's a reason why this, this three-corner stretch of Radion and Eau Rouge is so famous / infamous, is because you're right, and all hell can break loose in a split second, and a race can get completely turned on its head in just that one little stretch. And what so many drivers end up doing is setting up their car just for that stretch of road, and then fighting the car then the rest of the lap. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the various drivers have set up their cars for this track, because there is such variation between the various sectors. But in terms of Strix9 Pulsatrix, I mean, she's coming off a back-to-back double win at Kyalami, and I think then they're going to have their eye at least on a podium position for the championship. Maybe not the top spot, but I wouldn't be too surprised if they're going to steal that third place.
Do you know what? That's actually an inspired shout there, Sam. I think you're absolutely spot on with that one, because the performances that Strix9 has been putting in at this late stage of the season, I think also would have certainly, if we'd seen Strix9 been pulling those performances out at the beginning of the season, I think there would have been no question about them being promoted potentially up into silver class, and that's what we've had to talk about as well, because we had the likes, we had two drivers earlier on in the season getting put up. Cammy Sturch was one of them, getting put up into that silver class, and I remember there was a little bit of frustration about it, because it's almost like out of the frying pan and into the fire. You're being thrown in with all of these incredibly fast drivers, and you had a couple of silver drivers put back down into AM. And yes, they have qualifying pace, but they just did not have the ability to keep their nose clean during a race. The likes of Roberto Lesca, if I'm not mistaken, as we've got some qualifying laps coming in now, as Strix9 Pulsatrix comes across the line, 232.962, 0.8 of a second ahead of Roberto Lesca. But again, it's going to be a case as seen over the next couple of minutes here, as Chiara Camariano here for Race Simulation comes across the line, of where exactly the lap times are going to come. And if Pulsatrix is set at a 232.9, then I think it's almost for sure that it's going to be another completely ridiculous time that gets put in by the likes of Rose of something like a 229 or something like that. That's just the way things have been going just now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see, an alien lap time from either Rose or Gobi. So yeah, and there are always going to be really quick times from these two around this track. But as we've seen, quite a bit with Pulsatrix, I definitely think that lap time is going to put them up in amongst the silvers. And something we've got to remember with Pulsatrix, they weren't here for the first two rounds. They joined the championship late. They came in at round 3. And I've got to echo what you said, that if Pulsatrix had been part of the championship from day one, I do think that the likelihood of them getting put up to silver would have been very high.
Yeah, for sure. We're watching Celine Witcher here for Wild Things Racing, one of a number of Wild Things Racing drivers out there tonight and out there through the season coming through. That is Kurt Paul Frere, and then through into Blanchimont as well, with 2 minutes left to go in qualifying here for the final round of Season 5 of More Female Racers, powered by Mercedes-AMG, of course, in these incredible Mercedes-AMG GT4 machines. When you see these things in real life, they're just like little baby GT3s. It's so adorable seeing them out on track, but they look every part a race car. And Celine Witcher shown absolutely what for Wild Things Racing, going straight up into P2 with a 2:33.5. So a fantastic time there for Celine Witcher. Now this is where we're going to see here, Sam, the real meat and gravy in terms of the times coming in. And Vintels looking at making an improvement here. I don't think it's going to be an improvement on position. It is an improvement on time, however, by about 4 or 5 tenths of a second there for Vintels. But again, this is now where the kind of fast laps need to come in. You've had the benchmark set, and now you need to pull the pin on that grenade.
Yeah, definitely. Something that I personally find, especially with this track, you were mentioning earlier of, putting in a banker, then coming into the pits, change tires, change setup. Personally, I find that it takes me a couple of laps to get into a rhythm around here, because it's such a long lap, because then the different sectors of this lap are so different. I actually wouldn't go into the pits, fuel for the entire quali session, and just get yourself into a rhythm and just hot lap, and hope that then the lap times come down. And as I was saying earlier, Camariano, that car looking a little worse for wear on the side. So she's had some problems trying to get some lap time in. Still doesn't have a time on the board. So fingers crossed that Chiara gets a lap time in now. But it's not going to be anything close to what they're capable of, looking at the damage that car is currently carrying. And no doubt that car is going to be down on power and probably down on grip as well, seeing as that damage is front end.
This is really going to be quite testing for Chiara Camariano here, and just like you said, with that front end damage there, it's going to be very, very awkward just coming through these final couple of corners here. It looks like the majority of the AM field have decided to call it a day. Strix9 Pulsatrix has Eris Aphelion, Roberto Lesca, Cosmo Marsh, and Vintels. Cosmo Marsh is actually still out on track just now. Here is Maren Edwards then comes across. That's a huge improvement for Maren there. That's much more in tow with what we expect in terms of pace from Maren Edwards there. About a second and a half improvement on that previous lap time there, as Celine Witcher is into the pits as well. And there we go then, Cosmo Marsh up into P5. Still no time for Chiara Camariano, and that unfortunately means they're going to be starting at the very back of the grid. So for the AMs then, it's Strix9 Pulsatrix, Celine Witcher, Eris Aphelion, Roberto Lesca, Cosmo Marsh and Vintels, Maren Edwards and Charlotte Robertson, and then Chiara Camariano starting at the back of the field. As we get a little wave from Azzy Airedale from Azzy Sport. Hello, commentary team. I'm going to just throw that one to you, Sam.
Sorry, I completely missed the question of it. I was looking at that.
There wasn't the question. It was just Azzy Airedale saying hello to the commentary team. Team question: how many sugars do you have in a tea? Right. Okay, Sam. I'm gonna give this one to you first.
Oh, you really don't want to ask me this. Everyone is going to absolutely hate me. I don't like tea at all, so I don't have. I'm
sorry. Production. Can we find an emergency second commentator, please? Yep.
I know.
Right. So you don't. Like
I'm a
tea.
Coffee girl. I'm a coffee girl.
See, I'm a coffee guy as well, but I don't mind a cup of tea if there's. But if you were to have a cup of tea, what would you be doing with your sugar situation?
Well, because I don't like it and therefore don't drink it, I have absolutely no idea. So I'm gonna say 1, maybe.
There we go. That's
sure.
playing it safe. Playing it safe as Sam Bales. Right. I'm gonna say 2. Two sugars in my cup of tea, and make sure it's nice and strong. And I swear to God, if you put the milk in before the tea bag, you can just put the kettle down and leave my house immediately, because you do not belong anywhere near. In fact, you'll be instantly deleted from my phone. Anybody that it's just a wrong-un, right? I'm sorry. It's just it's not happening. Ryan, what's brought this on? Is this like the last day at school when you start doing all the funny stuff? Because Ryan Walker wants to know, does pineapple belong in a pizza? That for me is a more pertinent question here.
This one I can answer, and I'm of the yes camp. Pineapple definitely goes on pizza, but only with ham, nothing else. Proper Hawaiian. You can't put pineapple on other types of pizza, but on Hawaiian with really, really nice, good quality ham, sure, yeah. Then it goes. Doesn't go in any other situation.
I'll absolutely go with you on that one. Pineapple, only because there is worse fruit that you can have on a pizza, and that I have had on a pizza. Right, we've got 6 minutes left to go in silver qualified, so I've got about a minute to tell the story. But I'm a very old guy, right? I still loved Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was little, and when I was little, you had these frozen mini pizzas that came out that were turtle pizzas, and one of the flavours was bacon and apple. I kid you not, bacon and apple pizzas. Yep. Actually sold you put them in the oven, and they were absolutely horrendous, and it was oh no, actually I'm remembering it wrong. No, if I remember it rightly, it wasn't even apples on the pizza, it was an apple sauce on the pizza.
What? Oh my God, that's
go and Google it. Go and Google Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pizzas and see how I was scarred for life. Right, that's enough of pizzas. That's enough of talking about tea.
Let's get back to the cars.
Yeah, I've mentally scarred
everyone. Get back to the cars.
So Denise Pope out on track just now for Wild Things Racing. Now we saw teammate Celine Witcher out there on track as well. In fact, Celine Witcher improving even more. I didn't even notice that Ninja lap time going in. 2:33.1. That is a lap time and a half for Celine. So Wild Things Racing, obviously, they do put a lot of work into their seasons behind the scenes. I've seen them on their Discord servers, and it's just fascinating to watch all of the work that goes in. Here's Lead Paul Racing, Paula Brady right now. I was going to say those are looking suspiciously Newcastle United's colours on that car, but across the line goes Paula Brady, and let's see what time that is. We'll have a look in a second. But with these times coming in, this is going to be their banker laps coming in here. Sam, how much can they push, do you think, off of their banker lap? Do you think if you've got a slow banker lap, you have to push harder?
I think just getting a banker lap here is more important than going super quick. Because of what can happen in Radiano Rouge in lap 1, I've always been of the mind that it's almost better to be a little bit further back here, because it gives you the opportunity to, possibly pick your way through the lap 1 carnage and just pick up place after place after place. So I'm more of the mind of play it safe, actually get a time on the board, because let's face it, we've already seen so some drivers not getting any lap times at all in. So I'm more play it safe. Then once you've got a time on the board, then you can push.
Yeah, I can absolutely go with you with that one. The thing with it, I guess, is that, and it's one of those questions, I've done this a few times in the season, Sam, where I've asked you a question, and as soon as that last word has left my mouth, I'm like, I already know the answer to that question. It's like, so, because of course the drivers are going to be the ones really that know how far they can push it. But I guess my question was more, like, from my personal experience, I find it difficult finding where the edge is. In terms of how far you can go without absolutely sending the car into the stratosphere. But thankfully, a lot of these drivers are able to find that line quite quickly. But what I would say is those AM times are incredibly fast right now. Yes, we've got 2 silvers up there just now, but Strix9 Pulsatrix and Celine Witcher, they're looking like they could be in for a really good mix here.
Yeah, currently still sitting in P3 and 4 respectively, and then it's really, really good times, and when we've got some good silver times in there. But then this is part of what this championship is all about, is helping drivers improve and getting quicker, getting more comfortable behind the wheel. And in terms of learning where the limit is, that's the point of free practice heading into these races, is you push the cars as hard as you can in practice to find where then that limit is, so that where and how far you can push when it comes to race day. But yeah, I think it's fantastic that we've got some really, really great AM drivers mixing it up with the silvers. And yeah, there's just been some fantastic improvement over the championship and that's from a lot of these drivers.
I was just about to say that's exactly what the championship is designed to do, of course, is to nurture this talent from the rungs all the way up to get them into the pros. And the thing is that it shows you that there's very, very little difference at some points in the season between all of the drivers, and if anything, it makes for a very, very exciting race. I remember back at the start of the season, and the gaps were like maybe say all the way out to between the pros, and then like 4, 5, 6 seconds over the rest of the field. But it looks like, with the exception of Martin Edwards and Charlotte Robertson, who have really struggled in qualifying just now, the majority of drivers here within 3 seconds. However, I've got no doubt whatsoever that everyone will be blown out the water once the Nora Rose gets on onto the. It's almost inevitable, isn't it? You're like, oh my god, it's an amazing time, and then Honor gets on track. It's like, oh right, okay then. However, Beata Bachenska here is being harassed quite viciously right now, and that is around the outside there. That's Rubia Costa trying desperately to get past this car here. Skyline saying, Substream and Vintels here, you all ready for race 2 post donuts? Now, I saw Anne asking in the Discord chat about some post-race donuts, so I've got my cup of coffee here. I'm looking forward to some end-of-season donuts.
Oh yeah, gotta love the donuts. Gotta love the donuts. Yeah,
so
without a doubt.
Qualifying is done and dusted then for the silver class. Then we'll still have about a minute before all of the cars come through. I believe that we have got, the 168 and the 79 going in there. Paula Brady does a improvement there, goes up into P11 there, and that is with a 152.570. Fastest car on track at the moment is April Karlsvard with a 232.170 ahead of Jenny Kamugli. Great to see that Jenny back to us after what has been a pretty rough season, having a hardware failure, and then I think it was a flu or something like that. Just wasn't to be. Altea Book improving to 13th position as we see the pros out on track just now. I know Rose Saradov and Alu Gobi as well, Sam.
Yeah, Alu Gobi, there was some question marks over as to whether she was actually going to make it tonight, but fantastic to see her in. Then the server just wouldn't have been the same without her, so really glad to see that she's been able to join. And I'm fascinated to see what the next few minutes is going to turn out in terms of what that ultimate lap time is going to be. I've got no doubt that it's going to be pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely spot on. So 8 minutes left to go in the qualifying session. And this is the pro cars just getting warmed up for their lap. This is Denise Pope on their final lap for the silver class as well. So this could be a shock in the making. And there it is! Denise Pope out of absolutely nowhere jumps up into P2 then. And that is a hell of a lap there. 232.6. Game on, 4/10 of a second out. And that came from absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, gauntlet thrown in terms of that silver class. Really fantastic to see. I mean, Denise currently sitting P4 in that championship. Definitely within contention. If she has a really good outing out this round, again could potentially take one of those championship podium positions. She's had a bit of bad luck, especially round 2, having quite a disastrous second race in round 2. But otherwise, when luck is with her, Denise does really well. I love watching her race.
Yeah, and that's the thing as well, is the fact that we've definitely not been short on drama and excitement all the way through the season. The one thing I do have to mention as well is the likes of our silver promotees, shall we say. The likes of Azzy Iredale, who got put up into silver class, and Cami Sturch. Since they got put up, they were driving absolutely incredibly. They were driving out of their skin to be able to do that, and it's just been like a new lease of life. We had drivers, as I said earlier, being demoted from silver to pro-am, and they've really sort of pulled the stops out as well to try and get themselves back up here. But we're watching Honor Rose right now, and it's almost a massive class, isn't it, whenever we're driving with Honor, being able to watch the cars on their way around. This is coming through the final section of the circuit. It's just through Stavelot then, and through the left-hander here at Blanchimont on the run down towards the chicane into that bus stop, and then out of there. And you get the feeling that Honor, and this is what's frustrating again from this, is like we see drivers taking 8 out of the 10 minutes, Sam, to get like a really, really good lap. And Honor just like comes across the line, it's like, it's done. So let's see what Honor Rose does across the line. In fact, I think that was their outlap just now, so we'll confirm that in a second. Or it could have just been wide going through that right-handed. Yeah, so it was an invalidated lap through Stavolo. The thing is what we then need to turn our attention to is this fight here. And we've talked it up all through the season. Alou Gobi down in 6th position, but that fight with Alou Gobi and Honor Rose, it all comes down to tonight's 2 races.
It does, yeah. I mean, looking at just the way that Honora's Carwin was behaving on that lap, she's pushing right out of the gate. Using on all the track, you could see the feedback from the wheel, pushing that car right to the very, very edge, right out of the gate. So, and Honora, potentially feels a little bit on the back foot of Alou Gobi having such a good round out last round. So, yeah, will be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. But I think claws are going to come out. I think this is going to be a proper battle royale between the two of these drivers tonight. I think it's going to be down to who's put in the most practice and who's willing to push the limits in terms of track limits. I think that's going to be the deciding factor. We know that both of these drivers are amazingly talented. I think who's going to be willing to take more risk.
Well, we're about to find that out, I guess. That was, I honestly, it's such a joy working with you, Sam, because you have such an eloquent way of like rounding everything up. I'm just an absolute monkey brain talking about everything that I see on track, but it's so nice to have that all summed up and put in a very, very nice little nutshell. Talking of which, this is what we've got left in 2 3/4 minutes left to go in the race, in the qualifying even, before we even get to the race. Now, this is what is concerning me a little bit, and I'm going to say a little bit because we're waiting for Honor Rose to come across the line. It doesn't concern me anymore, we'll put it that way, right? Okay, 2:30.3. The fact that Honor hadn't set a lap time yet, but yeah, there we go. 2.5 seconds ahead of Alou Gobi. What can Gobi do across the line? I think that's a little bit wide coming out of that final corner there. Is it going to be an improvement? It is. 2/100ths of a second. Ladies and gentlemen, get the popcorn on. We've got 2 minutes left to this. This is going to be a spicy meatball, shall we say? It
is. Yeah, it is. I mean, for a lap this long, to being, 2/100ths difference in lap time at a lap this long is just amazing. I absolutely love watching these two fight it out tooth and nail. Whatever you've got planned for the rest of the evening, don't go anywhere. This is going to get ridiculous.
It really is. And what's even more ridiculous is the fact that second to 20 seconds, third to 22nd is separated by about 3 seconds, right? And then you've got a separate 2 seconds up to first and second. I just can't get my head around that. See, I look at third to 22nd and I think, right, okay, so that's the spread. I'd probably be where Martin Edwards is now, just because, at least Martin Edwards, we can say that from their performance during the rest of the season, it's been a rough qualifying, right? Martin gets a bye for that sort of qualifying. Whereas I'd look at that and be like, I'd be happy to get 5.5 seconds off the pace here. But I don't get it. I really, really don't get where you get a second and a half, 1 3/4 seconds over everybody else here. And this, unfortunately, is what lap after lap after lap after lap of practice does for you. It just makes you feel like you're at one with the car.
Yeah. But, and Nora is, they're still pushing. This lap, I think, is going to be invalid. I think then Honor went just a little bit too wide coming into Blanchimont. So I've got a feeling that this 2:30.3 is going to stand. They might cross the line with enough time to do another lap. It does. So, they're not done and dusted yet, but and Anora not holding back, pushing constantly throughout this lap. So if Anora...
Oh, Gobi, let's go. Right, 0.6 of a second. I'm so sorry for jumping in there.
No.
My excitement, Sam, just overtook me there, because this is it. I know Rose has got that one last lap, but Luke Gobi was on that last lap there. And what a lap from Sarah Duff as well to improve. She was down there in, I believe, 8th position and now up into P4. But this is it. This is what we've got to keep our eye on now. I know Rose with one last chance to take that pole position. And the thing is this is exactly what Luke Gobi has to do to keep any hope of this championship dream alive coming into these final 2 races here. And that's very wise from an O'Reilly.
That is.
You get a feeling that might have just invalidated it. We'll keep an eye on it. And
I think she stayed in, but it was a proper 4-wheel slide coming out. So I don't think Anora's going to manage this.
Yeah, that's it. It's invalidated. So I know Rose just out of that corner there. So just to clarify, she's not actually invalidated it just yet, has she? Let's have a quick peek there. So she's going through just now, but she is massively down because of that power slide through there. So at the moment, about 0.6 of a second. So I think it's safe to say then, Luke Gobi taking pole position there, and you could not write a more twisty, turny, topsy-turvy script for this final race.
No, I mean this is to quote the song lyrics, this is how legends are made. I mean, and Anora taking back-to-back victories in round 1 and round 2, Alu being second place in both of those races, then starting to claw back in round 3. They took 1 apiece, and then Alu just having such a dominant race out and at Kyalami. I've got to say that I think Alu has the upper hand coming into Spa tonight. But looking at how hard Anora was pushing that car, she is not going to roll over and play dead. She is going to fight this to the very, very bitter end.
Yeah, and this is the strange thing as well. From what we've seen throughout the season, Sam, we've seen Anora take the leads. We've seen get pole positioned and run off with a storming lap there, and I can confirm that Anora Rose has gone across the line, and it was around about 0.6 slower than the previous fastest lap there. However, what we've seen so far in the season, Sam, is that Anora takes the pole position, takes the lead of the race, runs off for about 3-4 seconds of a gap. Then Luke Gobi closes that gap and they fight towards the end, and it's usually a case of if Alu was able to get that position first, do you think things could have been different? Well, now's the chance to see what happens here. And if Luke Gobi can take the win on this race, I believe that we are down to single figures in terms of the points difference between these two drivers.
Yeah, I mean, this really, really is going to come down to the wire. And you're right. That was the key point of difference at Kyalami, that Alu was able to get out in front from turn 1 in both of those races and went on to win. It's one of those things that it's very, very easy to be quick. Very, very easy to stay on the back of another driver. Passing, completely and totally a different story, and we've seen this race after race after race between these two. They can keep up with each other all day long, but they are both so talented that whoever is behind has got their work cut out for them, trying to make that pass and make it stick and make the pass clean.
The other deciding factor, I think, tonight is the long Kemmel straight there and the run through Blanchimont. Some big toe opportunities for a lot of the cars here, but that is all to be decided in the next half an hour. This is how it shapes up then. Pole position is Lou Gobi with an Rose alongside on row 1. Row 2 is going to be April Carlsvard doing a stunning qualifying performance there in row 2 to take third place. Sarah Dove in P4. Denise Pope in P5 alongside Jenny Camugli in P6. Ruby Acosta alongside Sophia Ronwin P7 and 8. Then on row 5 it's Strixstein Pulsatrix leading off the AM contingent with that amazing qualifying lap there. Azzy Erdale in 10th position as well. It's Natalie Lee in 11th with Celine Witcher in 12th. Row 7 is going to be Esmeralda van der Nald alongside Paula Brady. Then on row 8 is going to be Eris Aphelion with Altea Book alongside keeping company. Altea Book in 16th, as I said. Row 9 is going to be Roberta Leska and Josie Austin. Beta Bachenska and Cosmo Marsh are on row 10. Yvonne Hufelar in 21st and Vintels in 22nd. 23rd is going to be Martin Edwards. Then it's Charlotte Robertson in P24. P25 at the back of the grid, Chiara Camariano not able to get a qualifying lap in. But here we go, the final round of the championship, the penultimate race of the season. So much rests on one very big track here in Belgium, Sam.
Yeah, I've take a deep breath because I've got a feeling that we are just not going to stop. With especially that mid pack being so close on lap times, close on skill level, and I think that there's it's all to play for in that mid pack. And then we've also got the battle royale and up front between Rose and Gobi. I don't think we're going to have 2 seconds to take a breath in the next 30. So yeah, we've got our work cut out for us tonight.
We certainly do. I hope you've got some throat lozenges there, Sam, because you're going to need them tonight.
Yep.
With your, in fact, let's do a quick welfare check, Sam. How are you feeling right now, just on the build up to this race?
I'm managing.
We'll ask that same question again in 20 minutes and see exactly how you are. But this is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. If you have just joined us, very warm welcome. This is More Female Racers Season 5, powered by Mercedes-AMG here from Spa-Francorchamps. The final 2 rounds, the final 2 races of this championship. This is what it all comes down to. Leading off the Pro Championship, Anor Rose by just 8 points over Lou Gobi. Then you've got April Carlsvard leading Ruby Acosta for the Silver Championship by just 8 points. Get the theme here. And then in AM, you've got Celine Witcher leading Cosmo Marsh by 11 points. Boo, having to break that pattern there. But again, just showing that everything tonight rests on a proverbial knife edge. Everything is balanced so delicately, and I'm very interested to see what is going to happen here, especially with that AM battle. Celine Witcher qualifying P2 in class, and Cosmo Marsh down in P5 in class as well. So again, some very difficult performances tonight. I think some real sort of head down and determined drives going to have to be pulled out of the bag at the very last minute here, Sam.
Yeah, definitely. And I absolutely love seeing this coming to the end of a championship, and it's all come down to the final round. We haven't had any championship deciders in the earlier rounds. It's all come down to this. So ultimate excitement for this evening. Everyone has got to be super laser focused, and it's going to be absolutely insane race, pretty much up and down the pack.
So I hate to spoil everybody's fun, because one of the the traditions that we have here at Spa is that I get overly excited at the wrong start line. I normally like get really pumped up, ready to go for the first start line, and of course it never actually starts there. It'll finish there, but it doesn't start there. It starts round the other side. So I would have suffered for that if it wasn't for our production director actually giving us a subtle little nod there. So
little
by this point,
reminder.
I'm usually through the roof at this point, and then 5 seconds later get the nod from the production team that it's not really happening, but we're going to be going round to the next corner and get
never understood why that's the case, and it's always just this one lap. The race finishes there but doesn't start there. It's never made any sense to me, but hey.
Well, here we go then, round the final corner then. We get things underway. It's going to be a Lou Gobi alongside Anor Rose to get everything going. We are poised, ready and willing to go here. 30 minutes of our first of 2 races tonight. And I'm on the edge of my seat. Here we go then. A Lou Gobi, Anor Rose for the penultimate time, and that is a cracking start from Anor Rose. Almost gets the jump on a Lou Gobi immediately. They're side by side coming through Eau Rouge and Radion as Rose has to lift off a little bit there. Looks like everybody behind has got through successfully. We'll keep an eye on that. But have a look at Sarah Dove already on the outside of April Karlsgaard, and Anor Rose under real pressure right now, coming down into Lake Hume for the first time of asking as Rose goes defensive there. We've got 10 cars behind. You've got an accident at the back there. That's the 137. Oh no, Team Cake, Josie Austin. The Blancmange is gone. Beata Bachenska, hot and spicy, has gone. So that is quite a few cars gone there. The 99 is out as well. But focusing towards the front here, Sam, you've got to say, I mean, they're going to be fairly happy with how that all started. But again, it's how they keep going on.
Yeah, definitely. And up at the front, it was been very cleanly fought. Gobi had to back out of the. And Anor Rose had to back out, even though they were side by side going up Eau Rouge. Dangerous place to go side by side, especially on lap 1. Brakes are cold, tires are cold. So definitely making the right decision to just let that position go and continue to fight. But I've got to think that April Karlsgaard might have been trying to help Anora out a little bit, trying to keep Sarah Dovben behind. Playing then the team game. But really great start and up front.
Certainly has, and again, just trying to sort of pick all of the remnants out of what has just happened here, because Cosmo Marsh up into P4 now, dropped down a couple of positions overall, but not in class. That's what actually counts in this race here, as Azzy Airedale has a look up the inside of, I believe that's Jenny Kamugli. That is the 532. Kamugli tries to take the position back, and the two of them fighting side by side. Beautiful racing here, absolutely worthy of a silver class battle right now. Still side by side coming across the line. You've got Ruby Acosta just behind there. That means that Azzy Airedale is going to have the inside line for the corner. All contact from Ruby Acosta, and you've got to say that did look like a very late instant there from Ruby Acosta, and it didn't need to happen. However, I know exactly how late these things can be on locking up on the brakes.
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to see that back, but my gut instinct is that I think that was on Jenny there, but trying to brake just that a little bit too late. But one thing that I have just noticed, Strixline Pulsatrix started up in P9, has dropped behind Celine Witcher on the start. So would be interesting to see what happened there on the start. There was a silver in between those two drivers. And they're now together with Pulsatrix behind. So doesn't look like Strixline has had the best of start around here at Spa.
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on, and unfortunately that has absolutely dire implications, just going back to the Rubio Costa incident, because Rubio Costa was obviously fighting for that silver championship, and that contact there, that puts them all the way down into P10, I want to say here. Here's the replay of the incident that we didn't quite see further back then. That's, I believe that's the 997 hot and spicy car of Beata Bachenska. So let's have a look here. Coming up through Eau Rouge, through Radion, and it's going to be a little bit further on. So, oh my good lord! Right, so we didn't quite see the remnant to that, but Beata Bachenska just gets nerfed from one side of the track into the other there. Quite a few cars there, I think, that were always going to get caught up in that, and I think from the looks of it, Beata was just an unwitting and unwanted passenger in all this. However, we've got a fight on our hands because Alu Gobi is under real pressure now from Honor Rose. With that gap just being 8 points in the championship, I believe that gap would come down to around about 3 or 4 points if this is how it would stand. But look at how wild that car is behind, and this is all for, I would imagine, trying to put Alu Gobi off at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and Honora, she's got to do everything that she can to try and get this position done early on. Trying to put, as we're just seeing the replay, and
Wow.
Right.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to say, I mean, Roberta Leska there, I think that was potentially a racing incident on that first bit, because didn't really see the yellow Mercedes on the left hand side there. That put them into the wall, but then got absolutely nerfed by Beata Bachenska after they got hit, and then sent into it around there.
It's a dangerous position to put yourself in, going up, you know, the Camel Straight, intentionally putting yourself into the middle of a 3 wide, going into Lake Con. It's a dangerous place to put yourself in. So I don't think she should have put herself there. But yeah, I'd agree. I think racing incident. We shall see what the stewards say.
I absolutely agree with you, Sam. I've used up all my my leeway tokens from the community this time. I'm trying to. It's Christmas. I'm trying to turn over a new leaf. I'm trying to be Mr. Nice Guy here. But no, I absolutely agree with you. There has to be an element of common sense has to come into it. Unfortunately, with the final rounds, when you're trying to push and you're trying to be competitive, you have to do that, and unfortunately Yvonne Huffelaar has found herself being competitive from the looks of it with the nearby barrier. Now, whether or not that was assisted, that's what we're going to have to watch here. However, it's difficult to take our eyes off this battle at the front, because everything else looks to have settled down, because the silver battle is settled in the way of April Carlsvard right now, with Rubio Costa being sent towards the back of that pack there, P9 I believe in silver right now, and Celine Witcher is ahead of Cosmo Marsh, who is falling back at a rate of knots here. Let's have a look here for Yvonne Huffelaar. I was going to say, was that completely... It looks to be unassisted, and this is just going to be looping the car around. That's a very unfortunate incident, and I'm going to take that back. I have to apologise. There was no no competitiveness with a barrier there whatsoever. But I did see that there was an announcement there, the 168 and the 168 and the 99. That was Altea Book that was involved in that one. That was determined to be a racing incident. So that's Altea Book in that yellow 168 car there, and 99 is the Roberto Lessa car. So as I said, I'm quite surprised that I actually got something right this season, but it was determined that it was a racing incident. 21 minutes left to go in this penultimate race of the season here. What do we think then? It's a difficult one, isn't it, with the battle at the front, because Honor Rose is doing everything they need to do, but Alu Gobi must win this race.
Yeah, and that is it pretty much, nailed on the head. Gobi has to win. But Anora Rose is going to do absolutely everything in their power to make as much of a nuisance of themselves in Gobi's mirrors, try to put Alu off. But yeah, further down than the order, we've got some amazing battles going on. Just looking down the timing board, the number of gaps that are under a second, we don't know where to look.
Well, where we're looking right now is Ruby Acosta at Cosmo Marsh and Altea Book. This is a cracking little fight that we've got going on for P13 right now. And Ruby Acosta handed a 15-second time penalty. Wow, that is massive. That's for the instant with the 5.32 on lap number 2. So Ruby Acosta handed a 15-second penalty, and unfortunately, man, that is really difficult to see there. Mostly because I obviously misremember this, but wasn't it Ruby Acosta that ended up getting hit around? Unless that was a completely different incident. The Ruby Acosta ended up getting hit by the 532 because so that's 532 is Jenny Camigli, so that is a different incident altogether. I'm also seeing Natalie Lee going tumbling down the order there as well, was up into the top 10 there, as that was a car absolutely sending it there. Esmeralda van der Nal, was that Natalie Lee there? Because that car was never going to stop in time. That was we'll have to get a replay of that. We'll have a look at that, because there was a car just come piling in there at the rate of knots. I thought it was the number 19 just from the colours there. We'll get a replay of that, but my goodness me, that was brutal.
It was, but very, very good on Van der Nel for keeping the car at least pointing in the right direction and not losing too many places. Very, very easy in that situation to end up facing the wrong way, and you're just a sitting duck waiting for a safe place to turn the car around. But yeah, that's painful.
Yeah, I completely misremembered that incident there, Sam. That was the incident with the 40th Ruby Acosta and Jenny Camugli. I remember talking about that incident, but I, for some reason, thought that was two completely different people that were involved in that one. So yeah, that's a fairly slam dunk penalty, and I've got to be honest with what we just saw there. I think that might be a very similar penalty coming along the way there, as we see Altea Book and Cosmo Marsh still duking it out here. 18 minutes left to go here at Spa, and this is for 13th position. So it just shows every single position here absolutely matters to these drivers here, because you've got Esmeralda van der Nal and Ruby Acosta still fighting it out behind as well.
Yeah, and this is something that I absolutely love seeing, is that in championships like this, no matter what your skill level is, you've got somebody to fight with. You've got somebody of a similar skill level to you up and down the order, and this is where development and learning comes from, is being able to be in battles like this, get experience like this, because it's quite easy as a novice driver, an inexperienced, just learning, that especially in public lobbies and things like that, everybody is just so much quicker than you. You end up pootling along at the back, not really gain any experience. This is the great thing about championships like this, is that it gives you the opportunity to be in battles, to fight, and gain experience, and that they were never going to get that car stopped.
I'm sorry, what? Excuse me?
Yeah.
What was that? Hang on. Wait, you carry on, Sam. I'm just looking up the local police department, because that was a full-on assault going on there. Goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what
It's pretty bad
they
when
were
both of us are
thinking.
lost for words. Because
Yeah.
we're stumbling for polite words on how to phrase that delicately. But
Yes.
look, I'm sorry, but the simple fact is that if you pull out from the car in front of you, which was Natalie Lee, and you can't get the car stopped in time, you know, if that was deliberate, that car would have been going 40, 50 miles an hour faster. So
Yeah.
there's absolutely no doubt that it was a mistake, but it's such a costly one, and for no gain whatsoever. So, you know, Eris hasn't gained anything out of that, other possibly the place, but in terms of like what they could have gained, it just, you know, because we see it sometimes in other championships where there's little moves like that, and you're like, yeah, that was deliberate, wasn't it? And you see something like that, and you're like, oh, that was a silly mistake, but it costs them so dearly because they will absolutely get hit by the stewards for that. And the thing with it is that obviously the idea being is that it's not so much that they're sort of like being overly strict. The idea of the entire series is that it's this learning environment for these drivers to be able to progress and, you know, develop themselves as competitive drivers.
Yeah, and you know, looking at that again, and you know, sort of putting myself back into the car there, it's a mistake that I myself have made, and I make it quite. I made this mistake quite often when I was learning. Is that you're following close to another car, you pull out, but because you've pulled out, you lose sight of where your normal brake markers are, and you know, then the bits and pieces around the track that you learn to use to, you know, say, okay, I'm at this point now, I now need to brake. Pulling out, you may suddenly lose sight of your markers, and before you know it, you've completely sailed past them. So, you know, I want to give Eris the benefit of the doubt that that's what happened there. That coming into Le Source, most people use then the brake boards that are high up on the fence on the left-hand side. If you pull out to the right around another car, very, very easy to lose sight of those. And if you don't have a second brake marker that you use, very easy to end up in that situation that before you realize it, you've completely and totally missed your brake point and end up causing quite a severe accident like we just saw.
Talking of accidents, that would be Into the Wall, Altea Book, Jenny Camugli. Well, what we're going to have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to have to go and investigate Sam, because I'm pretty sure there's a little button, a red button in front that just says crash now, and that's what's happened there. Altea Book, that car has gone from bad to worse. Just confirmation there as well. Eris Aphelion getting a 15-second time penalty for that contact there, and that is obviously going to cost them very dearly indeed. But Altea Book for Banana Breads Racing, left to their own devices now in no man's land, all the way at the back of the grid. April Carlsvard up in the lead of the silver class, and I believe I will have to do some maths and some checking of my fingers and my toes, but from where Ruby Acosta is now, I believe that this should put it beyond getting caught for April Carlsvard. Obviously, we've got drop rounds and things like that to try and factor in, but I think if April wins this and Ruby ends up where they are, because remember, that's a 15-second time penalty as well, I believe that should be enough to take that silver class. However, don't put anything on that in terms of reliability, because that is coming out of my mouth after all. I've done that before in real life racing. It was for motorbike racing, and yeah, never ever lived it down. However, looking back at that lead gap now between Alou Gobi and Honor Rose, I do wonder what is going on. Oh, that is drive-through for track limits for Eris Aphelion, so that is a day going from bad towards third place in the championship. That now looks like that could be in jeopardy already, as Sophia Ronwin goes wide out of Eau Rouge and Radion. It's nice to see that Radion is now an optional corner here at the track.
Yeah, well, you know, they have reprofiled the track in real life, and you know, so some people by possibly trying out the new layout. But yeah, not surprising and at all that we're starting to see some track limit violations coming to fruition and getting drive-throughs. It's unfortunate, but it's just the nature of Spa that if you're not careful, especially with Rouge and Radeon, it's completely counterintuitive to lift off if you've gone, an outside track limits. It does seem to be a way of getting around the track limits. But and a lot of drivers just don't want to do it. They'll just can keep the foot planted, and the game says nope, sorry. Too much of an advantage, and yet you get the penalty. But there's gap between Gobi and Rose, and I think again Gobi's they're in a commanding position now. Half a second between them. Gobi's just not putting a foot wrong, and it's. No, you know what? I am not going to say that.
I
am not going to say that.
I almost threw you into that,
no.
But it's not quite happening. Right, let's have a look then. As Cosmo Marsh now, that I believe would bump Cosmo Marsh up to third position. That still keeps the AM title, I think, alive into that final race. It does go down to purely a mathematical chance, but I still believe that is possible. 10-second time penalty for car 532. That's Jenny Camugli after that hit onto the 168 of Altea Book. That was the one that we caught just a couple of laps ago, almost on Sam's command there, as we go back to Denise Pope in P5. Great performance so far for Denise. We haven't really had a chance to mention that. Both Wild Things Racing cars, so Denise Pope and Celine Witcher in second and first positions respectively, as Erisafilian comes through for their drive-through penalty. Now here's something that I've not actually figured out as well, because obviously they got their drive-through for the track limits, but they got a 15-second time penalty. Now, will they still have their time penalty after it, or does the drive-through override that? That's something that in all my years here at ACC I've never thought to figure out. I've just been pointed out that it is going to be both that they get. It's one of those things that I've probably realised before, but I've never actually actively thought about it. However, Denise Pope here might be fancying a little shot here to go up the inside of April Carlsford. This could be some points getting taken off here from Carlsford.
Yeah, I mean, Denise looking very, very racy tonight. They've obviously been putting in some great practice laps in the lead up. She did doing really, really well tonight. But just touching back on Aphelion and that drive-through, around this track, drive-through penalties are just unbelievably painful. Pit lane here is just so long. You need an in-flight movie going through pit lane here. It's ridiculous. But confirmation, Erisafilion has completed a drive-through and is still stuck with that 15-second penalty showing against their name. So, yeah, it's painful.
Oh, here we go, move for the lead then. A little bit of argy-bargy between Lou Gobi and Honor Rose there. A little bit of contact into the braking zone for Lou Gobi and Honor Rose. Honor Rose just cuts across the chicane to hold on to that position. They're going to feel like they were pushed a little bit wide there, and I'm not sure about that, but we'll keep an eye on it. But with 7 minutes to go, this is now showing the intention here, and it does make you wonder if Honor Rose is just managing this pace and just lap by lap trying to crank up the pressure, crank up the wattage on this one, because you get the feeling that this is slightly inevitable, this move here.
And it is. It got then the slipstream, but Honora's going to be around then the outside. Oh my god.
Yeah, there's contact. That's going to the position taken there from
And it
Honor
is,
Rose.
yeah.
Great move there
Ooh.
from Honor Rose. Around the outside, there was contact made by Honor Rose on Alu Gobi, but at the end of the day, it's I don't think that's going to be seen by anything by race control. I think that's just going to be a racing incident between those two. But Sam, I don't think it's over, because how many times have we seen it where Alu drops back behind Honor and then immediately onto the tail again?
Yeah. One thing that I've got playing on my mind is Gobi obviously having to take the escape of the bus stop chicane and at the end of that last lap. I have no doubt that the game would have said no, that's a track limit violation. So it'd be interesting to see how many track limit warnings Gobi is on, and if that potentially plays into it. But I think Gobi is, I think, now we're 1.4 seconds behind. 5 minutes left to go. Tough ask. Really, really tough ask.
We'll keep an eye on this next lap here, because if Rose can take that gap up to about 2 seconds, then I think that number 10 is going to be in trouble. But the two of them coming through the bus stop now. We're still watching Denise Pope onto the back of Sophia Ronwin, so losing out of position there to Sophia Ronwin, and April Carlsford is going to have to just hope that they can settle down into that. Yeah, that gap's going up now, 1.8 seconds here, so that could be it done and dusted here for Honor Rose. And certainly I think that if Honor Rose does win this race here, I think that barring some sort of DNF or something like that in race 2, I think this puts it beyond doubt. Just with the way points will go and with the drop scores and things like that, it's difficult to see any other way where Honor basically had to win both races. Alu had to win both races for it to be a thing here. So 4 minutes 20. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, I've got no doubt that Gobi's going to give us a grandstand finish. But yeah, unfortunately, you're right. I think Gobi had to take both races to have a chance at that championship. But Honor Rose, doing exactly what she needed to do. Aggressive, racy, yes, but that's racing, and really, really great to see. And I did predict that the claws were going to come out.
Well, 3.5 minutes is what we have got left to find all of this out. Now, what could be happening is, of course, Alu Gobi could just be taking a lap or two to recompose themselves and get themselves going back on. Meanwhile, we'll have a look further down the field there. April Carlsford still in the lead of the silver class, ahead of Sophia Ronwin and Denise Pope. Celine Witcher in the lead of AM class, ahead of Strix9 Pulsatrix and Cosmo Marsh as well. That's your podiums for all three of the classes in this penultimate race. We're coming down to the final couple of minutes here, and I believe we'll have 2 laps I think we've got left in the books. We'll have this one plus one more at the end of it. So a thrilling race nonetheless. I mean, it's been an absolutely epic race. It's had everything that we can have, and yeah, just seen that there, Sam. Jenny Kamukli getting a drive-through penalty.
Yeah, sorry to cut in on you there, but yeah, seeing yet another drive-through coming through, yeah, definitely very, very costly for Jenny Kamugli, which is then a shame. Then they had quite a good qualifying, and just bit of bad luck on the start, and unfortunately going from bad to worse for Jenny.
You do hate to see it, you really do.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's just the way things goes. And you push everything that you possibly can, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way. But Jenny Kamugli there in the 5.32 going to be getting a drive-through penalty after fallen foul to that hit from Ruby Acosta as well. Strix9 Pulsatrix then side by side with the 19 Wild Things Racing and Natalie Lee there. Natalie's going to have the inside line coming up to LaSource then for this penultimate time there. Oh, that was so close onto the back end of Natalie Lee from Strix9 Pulsatrix there. Just completely different lines there. And I think this could be a little bit of a move going up into Lacombe. But as we look towards the leaders, I know Rose now 2.1 seconds ahead of Alu Gobi. You get the feeling that that is starting to slip through the fingers of Alu Gobi.
Yeah, it's a shame. Being a fellow Canadian, I've been rooting for Gobi all season. Absolutely love watching them race. Then their amazing outing in round 4 gave me lots and lots of hope that then they might pull it out of the bag. But Honora Rose has just been on another level tonight, biding their time and making the move stick when it counted.
Yeah, well, there we go then. 30 seconds left to go, so this is going to be the last lap then. Well, potentially, because obviously you've still got Honor Rose and Alu Gobi coming through Blanchimont just now, so they've got about 15 seconds left to get over the line. Do you know, I don't think they're going to do it. I think this is going to be the checkered flag coming up very, very shortly. 6 seconds, maybe 3. Yes. Yeah, it's going to be done and dusted. So here we go then. It's going to be Honor Rose to take the win and potentially the championship as well, although we do have to confirm that. Alu Gobi in second place, Sarah Dove in third for More Female Racers Season 5, the penultimate race of the season. But it's April Carlsvard who comes across the line in silver class ahead of Sophie Ronwin. Denise Pope is going to finish in P3, and Celine Witcher getting that 10-second penalty right at the end, so that snatches that AM class win right away at the end of it for Celine Witcher. That 66 getting a time penalty for hitting the 99. And that is absolutely monumental to Celine Witcher. That turns everything up in the air, because that now means that Cosmo Marsh potentially going to be up into P2. I think that Celine will still hold on to that position. We'll find out in just a sec. But Jenny Kamugli going to finish in 14th. Cosmo Marsh is going to come across the line. So many different stories. And that alone now means that the AM Championship is completely up in the air. And Jenny Kamugli, because not taking that drive-through penalty, I believe that's now been put to a 90-second post-race penalty.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
So yeah, it's they definitely going to be pushing our math skills to the limit in the break, trying to figure out where the chips are going to fall with that AM class championship. Did not see that one coming.
My goodness, that is drama to say the very, very least. So we'll be waiting for a couple of minutes to get some drivers in. But as we said, Honor Rose taking the race win from Alu Gobi, Sarah Dove in P3. Then in the silver class, it is April Carlsvard ahead of Sophia Ronwin and then Denise Pope. And then in the AMs as well, we did think it was Celine Witcher. However, I'm not even going to bother saying that, because we've got no idea where all of the cars all figure out in all of that. But let's bring in Strix9 Pulsatrix to have a chat with them. And Strix9, good evening. That was a bit of a crazy race. I've got no idea where you actually finished, because Celine Witcher getting that 10-second penalty at the end there. But it's safe to say you're enjoying this tail end of the season here.
Absolutely, yeah. Gotta say, like, the massive improvement I've been seeing since I came here at round 3 is very promising, and it's making me feel great. I feel very confident in the car now.
And obviously, you know, you've came in towards the second half of the season here, and it's just been a really, really impressive sort of start to the couple of races that you've had. How difficult was Spa tonight?
How difficult was what, sorry?
How difficult was Spa as a racetrack?
Oh, I mean, Spa is one of my favorite tracks in the GT3 cars, at least. In the GT4s, it's a lot more precarious. Through Eau Rouge going up Radillon, you have to hit the brakes, whereas in the GT3s, you can kind of just lift. And there's a few other parts on the track that get kind of scary in the AMG. But that's kind of part of the fun of it, is trying to handle a race car that's kind of edgy if you set it up right. But I think I set a couple of PBs as well in the race, so I've gone fastest than I've ever gone at this track in this car. So that's, I don't know. I like this track. I like this car. I like this track.
Now, obviously, going into the final race, there is actually quite a lot at stake for you in terms of possibly snagging at least one extra position on the championship, which would be an amazing achievement, given that you've only been in it for like 3 races out of the 5 of them so far. Is that on your mind at all, or are you just straight concentrating on what is actually going to happen in that final race?
I'm trying to put it out of my mind, because like I don't want to put too much pressure on myself. The reason I joined this league is because there's a bunch of other women here racing, a bunch of other women who I know, and some that I don't. But I came here just to like be around other people like me who are just really interested in sim racing, and also happen to be, not a man. So having that kind of comfort level has been a tremendous help to my racecraft and improving as a driver, and that's all I want to focus on. I don't really, these wins, like, I don't look for them. They just kind of happen because I'm just that comfortable in this league, and it's great. I'm glad that this league is put on, so yeah.
Well, Strixnine, it's an absolute pleasure having you in again. So hopefully we'll have a chat with you later on once the season is done and dusted. But congratulations on another fantastic performance.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd also like to thank Prismatic Motorsports for letting me represent their community, as well as Caught on Computers, Aero Broadcast Network. I'm blanking. Go for the Gap, and... oh, I'm blanking again. Oh boy, Certifiably Diverse. There we go. I got them all.
Well done, Strixnine, and we'll catch you later.
Yeah, see ya.
So there we go, Strixnine having a chat with us from the AM class. Right, let's have a chat then with April Carlsbard. Hello, April, because that was an interesting race, and the YouTube chat is very happy about it, and we're provisionally very happy because our mathematics is absolutely terrible up here in the commentary box, but things are looking very, very good for you for the championship. But more importantly, that was a very good race.
Thank you so much. That was, I'm not gonna lie, that was a very emotional chase. I was very nervous watching Denise and Sophie in my mirrors. I think I'd have been in trouble had those two not had each other to fight with. That was a really exciting chase, so well done to those two. Yeah.
And what's the, if you have taken the silver championship, does that change anything for you in race 2, or are you still just absolutely going for it?
Well, I don't think anyone knows for sure, so I kind of have to just go for it and make the most of it, right? Because I don't really have time to do the maths. It sounds like you don't.
Yeah, I was going to say that
right?
Makes 2 of us here, April. We're both in the dark here.
Yeah.
So I just finally, April, before we move on, race 1 itself, what was Spa like?
It's difficult in this car, honestly. There's a lot of aero corners, which kind of the weakness of this car, to be honest, but still an interesting challenge. And yeah, definitely an interesting challenge managing the car as it ages, as it wears down its tires as well. I think that's what Sophie and Denise did better than me there, so well done to them.
Awesome stuff. Well, listen, April, we're going to have to move on because we're pushed for time, so we'll let you get back to the grid. Thanks very much, and congratulations on the race win.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. See you soon. Bye.
There we go. Right, Sam, it's getting quicker and quicker, isn't it? It's back to race time because we're going back to race number 2.
It is, yeah. We've got it all to do again. And I've got no doubt that it's going to be just as hectic for us in the comms box as it is for the drivers behind the wheel. This is then the final race of the championship, all coming down to the next 30 minutes, and this is getting a bit emotional.
Yeah, it always does. It's bittersweet because you feel so proud that you've been part of like what's an amazing season, but then it always has to come down to like the final race, and you're like, you don't want it to end. But that is unfortunately what is going to be happening in just over half an hour's time. If you have just joined us, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the SimGrid YouTube channel. It is More Female Racers Season 5, powered by Mercedes-AMG, Round 5, the final rounds here at Spa-Francorchamps. I am, of course, David Christie, and joining me in the commentary box for the final rounds of the season, as she has done all through the season, is the incredible Sam Pearce. So Sam, I genuinely don't know what to expect with this one. I think that the pro championship is now out of reach. Again, drop scores and things, I'm still seeing that there's only 8 points, but again, I don't think the full drop scores have come in there. April Karlsvard is now 13 points, again, drop scores properly not counted as well, and 16 points to Celine Witcher and Cosmo Marsh right now. So it's provisional, but it's looking like, I mean, certainly if there's a mathematical chance for Lou Gobi, for Ruby Acosta, and for Cosmo Marsh, they are going to come out absolutely swinging in this race. Yeah,
no doubt about it. And then I think pretty much everyone up and down the grid, irrespective of where they are in the championship, whether they've got a mathematical chance at getting any of those podium positions, it's the last race. And you know, and everybody wants to give their all. So I think this is going to be the ultimate the ultimate test of, you know, what everyone's achieved. And I think that's the one thing that we need to really concentrate on, irrespective of, you know, where the final championship positions end up. Let's not lose sight of the fact that all of these drivers have done amazingly well through this championship. There's been so many really, really big improvements as well. You know, just seeing drivers just getting better and better each race is, you know, amazing to see, and is what this championship is all about at the end of the day.
It certainly is. So let's take you through your grid then for the final race of the season. It's Honor Rose alongside Lou Gobi on row 1. Row 2 is going to be Sarah Dove with April Karlsvard. Row 3 is going to be Denise Pope alongside Azzy Iredale. Row 4 is going to be Paula Brady with Natalie Lee alongside. 10th place is going to be Esmeralda van der Melde alongside Ruby Acosta. It's then Yvonne Huffelaar alongside Althea Book in 12th and 13th. 14th and 15th is going to be Josie Austin alongside Jenny Kimugli. 16th and 17th is Beata Bachenska with Strixnine Pulsatrix. Celine Witcher in 18th. 19th place for Cosmo Marsh and Vince Hills in 20th. Martin Edwards in 21st position. Charlotte Robertson in P22. Erisa Felion in P23. 24th position for Chiara Camariano, and then Roberta Lesca in P25. So the cars getting ready to make their way round for their green flag lap for the final time this season then. And I guess the time for talking is just about over, but we still get 2 minutes to talk, so that's fine. It's absolutely all right with me. But Sam, just, you know, thoughts ahead of the final race of the season. We've kind of been treated to a little idea of what to expect through this final race here. It's we're being told that it's in the bag for Honor Rose for the Pro Championship. However, the Silver and the AM, much harder to calculate with those drop rounds as well. But I don't think that's going to take anyone out of the fight. And as you rightly pointed out, it's more than just about the championship. It's more than just the title. You've got so many places up for grabs as well. I honestly wouldn't put it past the likes of Strixnine Pulsatrix to actually try and get up into, say, P2 in the championship, as we've got to work out drop scores and things like that. There's a potential that Strixnine could end up on third place in the championship overall. Now, for a driver that's only done 3 rounds of the championship, that's a bit outrageous.
That's very, very impressive. I'm just looking at the drivers' positions throughout the entire championship, and I've got to give a shout out to Altea Berg, improving round after round after round. Altea's been, with this championship since the very beginning, has competed, I believe, in pretty much every single season. And yeah, going from a 12th and 8th in round 1, up to, a second and 7th, a 7th and 5th last round out. And just improving round after round after round, and that I think is what's the most important thing about this championship. Is it's not just about the championship places and and who wins. Obviously, that's what people like to talk about. But the sense of achievement that I know personally from coming away from a championship like this, and thinking, I've really improved, I've learned, I've developed, I've become a better driver, I've become more situationally aware on track, and that is going to help these drivers far beyond the end of this championship in the next 30 minutes, and that's fantastic, and I think that's amazing, and I'm really, really proud to have been a part of it.
I could not echo that any louder myself there, Sam. Some wonderful, wonderful words, and it does. As a sim racing commentator, obviously I get to do lots of varied different digital events and esports events and things like that, and these sort of community-based events are just so fantastic because over the course of the season you get to know these drivers, you get to get an idea of what they're capable of, and watching them, and with the idea of this whole championship being developed as a sort of petri dish for future esports champions, it's brilliant that they've got this this platform in which they can adapt, that they can practice on, that they can make new friends in the Discord, they can get on board with the teams and just really have a blast in an environment like this. It's just fantastic to be part of, and I'm so glad that the SimGrids does this championship, and I know that the majority of the drivers and the teams taking part are very grateful for having a platform like this. So long may it continue, and hopefully we get asked back for a round 6, Sam. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Does the Com team think that this championship has endorsed female sim racers in a positive light? If so, how? We will hold that thought and we'll come back to that probably on lap 2. But the short answer for that is it's a complicated one. If you'd asked me 3 seasons ago, I would have had mixed opinions. I thought it was a great idea. I just didn't think that. I think there was things to be worked out this season. I don't think you could have a better light shining down onto the female sim racing community than this right now. We need more events like this across all the different platforms, all the different championships to get involved with it. We'll come back to that in just a second, because Honor Rose and Alou Gobi coming down through La Source, down through Eau Rouge and Radion for the final time to start the final race. A little bit of friendly banter, shall we say, on Alou Gobi and Honor Rose. And there we go, the green flag flies on the final race of the season. More female racers, season 5 is underway and on its final rounds here at Spa-Francorchamps. All of the cars make their way round, and that looks very, very clean indeed. It doesn't matter if we don't last through the Kemmel Straight. It's done. Oh, that was a bit of a hip check. Now, if this championship is done, expect fireworks between these two. Expect proper, full-on gladiator-style pugil sticks and them knocking 10 lumps out of each other, which is absolutely fine by me, because they can have a bit of fun and let off a little bit of steam. Contact. Tell me that wasn't the Wild Things racing cars off at the back. I think that was one of them. Celine Witcher and Beata Bachenska, and that was for the AM title. So that was Celine Witcher. So that was a huge one, because that was down in first position in the championship. Oh my good lord, that is some high drama as we go through it. Already a big gap opened up by Aurora Rose and Lou Gobi. Sophia Ron went ahead of April Carlsvard for the silver championship. Right, we've given him at least half a lap here to calm things down here. So in your opinion, has this been a positive light shining on female sim racing?
Without a doubt. It shows that there are some amazing talent within the female sim racing community. It also shows the development and the learning and growth that these drivers can have once they're put into an environment where they're supported and nurtured, and being able to have the opportunity to have a platform like this. And I definitely agree. I think there should be more championships like this, maybe not necessarily just restricted to female racers, but just learning and rookie and development championships and as well, because this just highlights how much improvement drivers can have when they're given the opportunity to be in safe environments like this. And when I say safe, I mean not as aggressive as some public lobbies can be, which unfortunately can very easily put off novice drivers, female drivers, and anyone wanting to get into this sport. Having a platform like this, I think, is invaluable.
And I think that actually, and we'll just touch on this very briefly, because it is a big subject, and the whole idea of toxicity towards females online and in gaming is a very big subject, and it is a sort of active thing that needs to be dealt with. And I've got first-hand experience. So as we've got a car off in the background there, who was that was going very slowly? Was that Ruby Acosta coming out of the pits there? I'll get an idea anyway. It was a pink car there that was just going on the inside there, but no, because Ruby Acosta's into the pits. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with toxicity, my partner plays a first-person shooter called Valorant, and I never really got it. I never really understood just like how bad it was until we started playing together, and she actually ended up having to hide her gamer tag on these public matchmaking sessions because it was an effeminate name. It gave away that she was a female, and the abuse and it's just absolutely incredible. It then clicked, and I'm like, hang on, how can you actually enjoy doing anything online if this is, and it's before even speaking, it's before even typing anything. It just comes out by default there. So yeah, this is another thing that platforms like this kind of negate out of this, so that is Celine Witcher then into the back of Beata Bachenska again. It was absolutely unintentional there, but the contact there from the Wild Things racing car onto the car in front there, and well, yeah, that so two things we've got to bring you up to date then. That almost essentially seals off the silver championship if it wasn't already before. April Carlsvard now is way ahead of Ruby Acosta. Ruby Acosta just coming out of the pits now, almost a lap down on the entire field there. But with the AM field as well, the AM battle right now, that is going to be very curious. So that is Ruby Acosta just coming out of the pit. Oh no, so this is the instant here. Oh, you hate to see it. So that is going to be contact with Yvonne Huffelaar. Yeah, that is a big hit into that wall there, and they immediately went into the pit. So yeah, that's you hate to see it.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that pit stop would have been a pretty much required. The way that car went into the wall, probably broken steering rack. I've had it around Spa, trying to drive with your wheel pointing 45 degrees in the wrong direction. it's not fun. Very, very difficult to do. So just really, really fortunate that it happened where it did on track. Really, really close to the pits so that they could just dive in and get that done. But as we said during race 1, pit lane here is really, really long. Add on top of that, probably quite a lot of stationary time getting that car fixed. So yeah, and then you're not going to be able to come back from that. But they kept driving, and this is something that I cannot stress enough. You have races like this, they are going to happen. You're going to have bad luck, you're going to have incidents, you're going to be thinking, oh, what's the point? The point is, it's all practice. Just keep driving. So what if you're a couple of laps down? You're still getting driving time, and it's important.
Yeah, it really is, because that's where the improvements come from, putting yourself in situations that you don't normally get to experience. Now, is this Roberta Leska? Oh my good lord, that is a bit of a moment coming up through Radion and Eau Rouge.
Yeah.
I've got the feeling the fact that this replay isn't over means that there's something else to come here on the Kevil Straight here. That looks like a fairly easy overtake. That's going to be late onto the brakes there from Leska. And dear, that's unfortunate. That's but see, I'm so guilty of that here, Sam. When you see that car behind you, like no, just ease off the brakes a little bit earlier, take a little bit too much speed into the corner, and suddenly bang, you're into the wall. So that is a move that I have perfected, very, very well.
Yeah, and it takes a particular poor Sophie and Ronwin facing the wrong way coming out of La Source, and it's a painful place to be, because as you can see, she's got to just sit there and wait for car after car after car to go past so that she can get faced in the right way. And with the exception of the number 40 car, that now puts poor Sophie right down at the back of the grid. And it's disheartening to sit there and just watch car after car pass you, but the right thing to do.
Yeah, it really, really is. As Jenny Kamugli here, you can see that car really struggling under any sort of pressure whatsoever, trying to get that car stopped in time. I get the feeling that might have involved the 48 car of Paula Brady, but let's have a look here. Coming up into the chicane, that is the 1-2-3 of Josie Austin, trying to make her way round. There's Roberta Leska there. That's not the best. Obviously, Josie trying to get that car in there. I don't mind when incidents like that happen, because it's almost like, well, you would put the sort of blame on Josie slightly for that one, but it was only Josie that was affected, so really it's a racing incident. There's nothing gained or lost by that one. Let's have a look here. This is up the inside, so is that Celine Witcher again. That's the 66. Oh my good lord. So if that is Celine Witcher, then that is Celine Witcher. That's the second incident in like 6 laps. In fact, sorry, 3 laps. At that exact same corner. So for a minute there, I thought,
I know.
You thought that as well, Sam, didn't you?
I did.
Don't lie.
Yep. I did have a deep intake of breath, thinking, oh no. But yeah, that was close. But yeah, I mean, then it's really, really easy to and almost inadvertently end up repeating a mistake in the exact same corner a couple of laps in a row, because you're consciously thinking, okay, don't do that, but because you're thinking about it, you end up doing it. So it can sometimes be a bit of a self-repeating prophecy, trying to get out of mistakes like that. Very, very easy to do coming into Lacombe. If you leave your braking a little bit too late, try to get on the brakes too hard, especially with these GT4s, the back end is just going to swap around on you. So yeah. So sometimes you got to make a mistake a couple of times for it to properly embed.
Battle for P1 then for the AM class. Assetto and Paula Brady's in that as well. Cosmo Marsh almost making it 3 wide down the Kettle Straight. Cosmo trying to make it round the inside here. Can't quite happen. And then you've got, Strix9 Pulsatrix in the mix there as well. Trying to go around the outside here. So this is a proper little fight that we've got going on here for P13 now. So there you go, confirmation. We've got a lot of these to get through, ladies and gentlemen. Incident between cars 168 and 141. That's Altea Book and Eris Aphelion. That is a racing incident, so no further action between those two. But Cosmo Marsh still behind Strix9 Pulsatrix and just ahead, I believe, of Strix9. Yvonne Hooflaar getting a 15-second time penalty, but this is Roberto Lesca trying to undo that damage from earlier. I believe that's Martin Edwards just behind, and then you've got Anne Vintels just up in front. In fact, Vintels getting past there and making it look very easy. In fact, I don't believe that is Martin Edwards just behind. I think that's actually Josie Austin in the 1-2-3, who is at least a lap down there, as we see Chiara Camariano onto the back end of Cosmo Marsh. So Cosmo dropping down a little bit because was ahead of Strix9 Pulsatrix there, and now down into that 15th position as we cut to Natalie Lee just behind Esmeralda van der Nald, and van der Nald just behind Josie Austin. So I've got absolutely no idea what I was talking about there, because Josie Austin's in the 137, who's a little bit further up there in 7th position, and 17 minutes left to go here. The battle for Pro has kind of calmed down. That's really disappointing. I was hoping to see some fisticuffs between Honor and Zalou, but I mean the pace they've got is just like crazy. It's so fast. 6.8 seconds ahead of Sarah Dove, and Josie Austin has fallen foul of the race control there, because that is a 5-second penalty for causing a collision with the number 15. That's Esmeralda van der Nald. So Josie Austin getting a 5-second time penalty there.
Yeah, and with the pack still very tightly bunched in that midfield, that is going to cost her a couple of places if the gaps remain as they are through the rest of the race. But yeah. The pace of Rose and Gobi, when we've seen this race after race, that these two are just completely in a league of their own. It's amazing to watch, and has just been fantastic. I know a lot of people think that it must be really demoralizing to be in a championship with drivers and of this caliber, but I've said it before, if you're in servers with drivers like this, take advantage of it. Look at their replays, watch what they do, see the lines that they take, what gears they're using, things like that you can watch with onboards, just like we are now, and learn. It's the best way to take advantage of being in servers with such talented drivers.
And it really is the only way you learn, or one of the better ways and quickest ways really that you learn, if you force yourself to just kind of watch other people, maybe not watching that on the 1-2-3 of Van Vincels there. That was the 11 of Charlotte Robertson there. We'll just pretend that we absolutely didn't see that. It's absolutely fine. But the likes of this, so you see Esmeralda van der Nald got Natalie Lee coming through Blanchimont, and that is now going to be very, very dangerous, because here comes Jenny Kamugli onto the outside coming into the bus stop. You get the feeling that Natalie Lee is going to try and roll off the brakes there, gets forced onto the curbs, and Jenny Kamugli takes that position, and there is Altea Book trying to make up for that horrible race one, and onto the back there of Natalie Lee. So Natalie Lee on the danger of getting put outside the top 10 just now, but just 15 minutes left to go in this final race of the season here. More female racer season 5, powered by Mercedes-AMG. It's Honor Rose ahead of Alou Gobi and Sarah Duff for Pro. It's April Carlsvaar, Denise Pope and Azzy Erdale. Now Azzy we have not spoken about so far tonight, but that is a inspired performance by Azzy. Remember, getting put up to silver class from AM, missed the next round, and then came in, I think, last time out at Kyalami, and to get a podium here, that is a fantastic performance from Azzy.
Yeah, and it is a real shame that Azzy missed round 3. I would be so fascinated to see where Azzy would have placed in the championship if she'd been able to make that round. And Azzy's been doing really well then the rounds that she's been out. Right, round 2 and round 4 taking a podium in both second races. So yeah, I think this is a championship of what could have been for Azzy, and I would love to see them come back in to then the next season and see what they can do with a full set of rounds under their belt.
Well, that's exactly what I am looking forward to as well. What I'm not looking forward to is being responsible for YouTube chat at the moment, because all that talk of us talking about pizza and pineapple earlier on, they're now talking about eggnog and fruitcake. We have such an eclectic group of followers here at the SimGrid, don't we? They're really they'll talk about anything. Just let's not talk about eggnog, please, because that is just there's no reason for that thing to exist. It's awful stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at where did this comment about licking something paint jobs non-toxic?
I thought it was a reference to me having a bit of brain fade as we're watching Josie Austin almost making it 3 wide here, and 3 wide it is. Good lord, absolute skittles. Jenny Kamukli fancied having a little go there. Thankfully, it's fine. Everybody's exactly where they were. No harm, no foul. It's fine. Let's just calm down after that one. Jenny Kamukli now is going to think absolutely twice before diving for a gap, I can assure you, of that one. Josie Austin's not going to be too impressed with that one.
No, but that could have gone so badly. But good on everyone for keeping it in a straight line. And I think this just goes to illustrate our point of how much people have improved. I think if that incident had happened in round 1, it would have been a very, very different story and a lot messier outcome. Now that it's round 5, people have gotten the measure of these cars and a little bit better. Everyone's still running, facing the right direction. So we can kind of gloss over that.
Yeah, let's please do that, as the Talk About Food still rumbles on in YouTube chat, and that is very, very wide for Esmeralda van der Nald, and you get the feeling with 11 minutes left to go, this is still going to involve at least one person ending upside down. It's Christmas. You know something's gonna happen. I don't think they're going to save it till the donuts at the ends here. But again, it's just this concertina effect that we're seeing happening between the different drivers here. Van der Nald getting a little bit of a chance now to stretch their legs here, but it really does seem like Josie Austin is kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place, and I'm sorry, that is absolutely outrageous. Did you see that from Jenny Kamukli? Just going round the outside of Josie Austin like Josie wasn't even there. That is disrespect level 100 there from Jenny Kamukli. Hell of an overtake though. I'm really impressed by that.
Yeah. Gotta love it, and this is sim racing. This is what we want to see. From P8 down to P12, all within a second and a half. And it's great. You can't predict as to what's going to happen, and out of these 4, as the Wild Things car just goes for it.
No way! No! How did Natalie... I honestly thought Natalie was just going straight off into the wall there. How did they manage to get that car stopped right in time?
What? Drive-through. Drive-through penalty for Jenny Kamukli. So, taking a little bit of limits taking a little bit of liberties with track limits. We saw it in race 1. Jenny got a drive through there, And yeah, just had it happen again in race 2. Yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff. I've got to be honest, it has completely changed my mind about these GT4 cars from personal experience. I've hated them. They're understeer. There's just, it's like steering a plate of jelly. It just sort of wobbles about a bit. You turn the steering wheel to the right, and it looks at you and goes, yeah, well I can
Maybe
do next week.
I'll think about it.
I can do tomorrow. Is that good enough for you?
Yeah.
There's an Apex there. What is going on now? I'll tell you, Book now caught up in the middle of that. That was Jenny Kamukli now, who is now off like a scalded cat. Into the distance she is off, but of course still got that drive-through penalty. That was a little bit of contact there from Altea Book onto the back of Josie Austin. That throws them right into the clutches of Paul O'Brady. We've got less than 10 minutes left to go in his final race of the season, and this is turning into wacky races. And to be honest, not for the reason that we've seen in previous seasons. This is just nuts.
Yeah.
If you told me a couple of seasons ago this was the sort of like intense, ridiculous, so nutty racing that we were going to have from these females, absolutely, I would be all over this. It's so entertaining to watch, as right into the back. That's a little bit of hello, how you doing from Paula Brady right onto the back there of Altea Book. The problem is that race control don't look too kindly on that sort of behaviour.
No, I mean this is night and day from the beginning of this season, even in earlier seasons to now. I know race control don't like this type of racing, but this is such good fun to watch. Little bit of trading paint. Getting your elbows out, but everyone's still pointing in the right direction. So this is great. This is what you want to see. And then I think I just saw Jenny diving into the pits to take her drive through. Obviously, 7 minutes left. They're gonna have to serve that and get it out of the way. But then this fight between these 4 drivers, I think is going to continue for the rest of this race, and it's fantastic.
Well, it's insult to injury for Jenny Kamukli, an extra 5-second time penalty for causing a collision, and that is going to be for that little incident with them going into the bus stop chicane. So that'll be another 5 seconds on top of all that. Meanwhile, we're watching Paul O'Brady for Lead Paul Racing here, side by side with Altea Book, trying to pass that car around the outside. And job done on the Kennel straight there. Fantastic move. And Natalie Lee, again, struggling to get that car held down in time. And I love the fact that co-commentator Zach Sweeney is having a go, saying that I've never seen an Apex in my life. And there's if you've listened to anything that I've said through the season, that's the whole point. That's why I'm sitting here in the commentary box. It's the fact that it just doesn't happen. Especially in these GT4 cars, it's like you look at an Apex and it's like, well, closest I can do is the nearest wall.
Yeah.
See,
I mean,
it's exactly it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of GT4s either, and I think it takes a special breed of driver to be able to wrestle these cars around, especially on a track like Spa. Give me a grippy, aero-heavy GT3. And I'm happy. Throw me in a GT4 and it'll be carnage and pinball.
Well, what I like is me 5 minutes ago talking about toxicity in chat, and Zach Sweeney appears. It's like, ask and they shall come. What can I say? 5 minutes left to go. This is your race leader, though. Anor Rose for Queen's Design in that 956 GT4 Merc out in the lead of the race, and it's only fitting that it's another absolutely incredible display from Anor Rose from start to finish this season. There's only been one other driver that's held a candle to Anor right now, and Alu Gobi has been that driver, but just not enough today to bring it through. And Josie Austin, I think that cake is getting a bit punched right now, because that is now Paula Brady, Altea Book. I think Natalie Lee's tried to have a go. Everyone has had a nibble out of that Team Cake car tonight.
They have, yeah, but it's Josie Austin keeping it up in front and at the minute. But with that 5-second time penalty, if these gaps stay in as close as they are, unfortunately, all the work on track is going to be undone because everyone being this close together, that 5 seconds is going to be painful.
It really, really is. However, it's certainly not out of the realms of possibility. Again, my brain shuts off as I'm too busy watching a wild move up the inside from Paula Brady. Little bit of contact here, and have a look at Altea Bick right the outside of the two of them, possibly trying to make the most of this. And surely that car's going to have the run down towards that right-hander, but it's going to be Josie Austin who keeps that car in front just into there. So Altea Bick making hay while the sun shines is the analogy that I was trying to make there. Didn't quite come out properly. But 3 minutes 10 seconds left to go, and I think it's safe to say, Sam, that if you were suffering from the flu-like symptoms before, you're going to be straight to bed at the end of this race.
Oh, I'm not going to have a voice at the end of this. No way. But if I'm going to lose my voice over anything, it's going to be this, because this is just so much fun. Wouldn't give this up for the world. I mean, then these 4 drivers, even though then they're battling for P8, really doesn't matter. They are showing that it doesn't matter what position you're fighting for, fight for it, and then it's great to see. And they are giving an absolute masterclass on clean but elbows out racing. Love it.
Again, another set of sentences there that I could not say any better myself there, Sam. So, I'm looking at this, and right, as much as I'm a professional commentator, and we're completely impartial, the really bad chaotic part in me, right, just wants to last lap, right, Natalie Lee misses the braking point and skittles all 3 cars off at that final corner. It's not going to happen. I'm just saying that's the sort of warped brain. I've been watching way too many memes on YouTube lately, so a little bit of funny music in the background. I'm not saying I've got the video editing software open. I'm just saying, if it was. But a minute and a half left to go, and Rose taking the cars round, and something's happened to Alu Gobi then, because that gap was 2.5 seconds. It's now 6 seconds to Alu Gobi down in second place, and Rose on that final lap. I believe we might get one more. Again, it's touch and go with where Rose is on the track just now. But we cannot take our eyes off this battle right now. Josie Austin into the slipstream of Altea Book then. And if this is the last lap, my goodness me, can you imagine the fireworks that we're going to see on this one as the car's on the brakes from Kemmel Street into Lake Coombe, around the outside from Josie Austin. Can't quite make it work, decides to just skip the corner. It's absolutely fine, but have a look at Paula Brady up to the inside as well. So Josie Austin holds on to the second place in that group here. We've got 40 seconds left to go, and it's still touch and go whether or not we are going to get one more lap there. Paula Brady getting into the clutches of Natalie Lee. Well, this is building up very, very nicely indeed. Natalie Lee could be poised to get a lot of these positions. We swap the camera in, camera around, because it's all about Honor Rose. Can we get another lap in here? This is very, very possible here. We've got 13 seconds left. I think we're going to get an extra lap here. Through the
part of me is hoping that we do, because this 4-way battle.
They're slowing down. I know Rose slows down to come across the line and take the win, spoiling us of a last lap there. But that's it. I know Rose wins the race and wins the championship from Alu Gobi, who comes through to cross the line. Roberta Leska somehow ended up almost into the barrier there. Josie Austin goes very, very wide out of that right-hander. What can Paula Brady do? April Carlsford comes across to win the Silver Championship. Absolutely beyond doubt now for the Silver Championship. Josie Austin, though, still onto the tail end of Altea Book. Have a look at Paula Brady and Natalie Lee behind as well. I think that Altea Book is going to have this one, but it's going to be side by side with Natalie Lee. Only onto the brakes. Natalie's never getting that slowed down in time. They did, but it's not enough. Paula Brady going to take that 10th position. Josie Austin is going to finish outside the top 10 after that penalty. What a race. Erisifilion.
wow.
How did we miss that? Erisifilion is just one ahead of Strix9 Pulsatrix and Cosmo Marsh. Now, from what I see there in terms of the championship on that one, that is, I've got no idea. I think Celine Witcher still takes that because of drop rounds, but again, we'll have to get confirmation there. But we're going to have plenty of time to talk to all the drivers there. Erisifilion, Strix9 Pulsatrix in second, Cosmo Marsh in third. Chiara Camariano in one of their best finishes for the AM Championship this season. And, well, there we go. Absolutely incredible stuff. Denise Pope getting second place in that silver race there. And I wonder how that is, as we had pointed out there, I wonder how that is going to affect Denise in the silver championship. I don't think it's going to put them up into P2, but we'll have to wait and see. But Sam, an incredible race here. Ruby Acosta coming across the line. It was looking so possible for Ruby, but it's just been an absolutely disastrous night.
Yeah, I definitely really feel for Ruby Acosta. You know, they've had such a great season, but just some bad luck. You know, playing out in a couple of the rounds, and it's really unfortunate. But oh my god, you know, that four-way battle. You can probably hear my voice is absolutely shot now, so I'm glad you're going to be doing interviews and not me.
So we're just going to wait a couple of minutes. We should have some provisional champions to talk about, but just having a look then at that, just confirmation, pro champion is going to be Anora Rose, silver class is going to be April Karlsvard, and confirming for the AM class is Celine Witcher taking that AM championship. So, wow, what a season we've had then. Anora Rose taking the pro championship, April Karlsvard taking the silver championship, and then Celine Witcher taking the AM championship. Sam, your thoughts on that?
Thoughts are frazzled. It's been a fantastic end to a great championship, and I don't think we could have had a more fitting final round than we've had here. And at Spa, we've had literally everything. You know, mind-blowing laps and close battles, trading paint. Incidents, you name it, we've had it all tonight. And for me personally, I just want to give a big thank you to all of the drivers for giving us you know, fun 10 races of amazing driving to watch and comment on.
Right, well, first things first, let's make our way through as many of the interviews as we can. We'll obviously do a focus on the champions, but I do want to have a quick chat with Erisifilion first, taking that win tonight in the second race for AM. Eris, congratulations, a mixed bag for you tonight, finishing fourth overall in the championship. What was that second race like for you?
Intense. Spent the entire race defending from Strix9, which was a huge tall order. Never spent a lap long in first position in a race ever. I think that's actually our first ever race win in class since racing.
So a fantastic achievement, and certainly from this season that we can confirm that. But Eris, again, we're pushed for time, so we're trying to get through everyone tonight. But what's this season been like for you? Is it something that you're going to be repeating?
It's been a tough season, a lot of ups and downs. Did really well in the first two rounds, then round 3 and 4 kind of went downhill because of incidents and just mistakes on our part, which is very unfortunate. Then, as for repeat, we'll be back for the next season when it happens.
Excellent stuff. Well, absolutely delighted for that. It's been fantastic watching you develop through the season, Eris, and it'll be an absolute pleasure to have you back on the field for next season.
Excellent. Be glad to be back.
Congratulations, and hopefully speak to you soon. Take care, Eris.
And you.
So there we go. Right, we will be as fast as we can. Let's get our championship leaders in first then. Firstly, we have got Celine Witcher to have a chat with us, our brand new AM champion. Celine, congratulations. That was just an intense season.
Absolutely. Sorry, David, if you don't mind me borrowing some Scottish parlance. The haggis was in the fire for sure.
Let's go. Let's go. Round of applause then, ladies and gentlemen.
So quite the season. Had to do multiple comebacks, especially after demotion. So quick shout out, obviously, to Wild Things Racing, my race engineer Richard Pixley, team boss Denise Pope, AJ Jones, and all the folks at my former team, Turn 1, and actually, David, you'll probably remember this from this time last year. That race was pretty emotionally heavy, as 3 days prior to that last race last season, I'd lost my father due to complications from COPD. So I wasn't expecting to win this one, but this AM Class Championships for Dad. So, Michael, if you're listening, can you put a note dedicated to Duncan Witcher, please?
Well, I think we'd be very, very honoured to do that for you, Celine. It's been a difficult season, as you pointed out. The first two rounds were... you had the potential there, but it just didn't go your way. And it's safe to say that after that demotion, that must have been quite a sort of punch in the gut, as it were. But it's safe to say, Celine, you came out of the gate absolutely swinging from round 3, and the performance difference has been absolutely remarkable. What do you put that down to?
I think it would just kind of come down to finally coming to grips with the car. I was anyone who's a Top Gear fan will remember the famous Rowan Atkinson line. I'm a very slow learner of cars. It took a while to really get my head around this particular car and understand its just the way it drives. I'm used to a different type of car, but sticking with it, putting in the practice time and everything kind of turned it around. And also I think there was also that there's a little bit of a shock to the system of, hey, you've just been demoted from where your pace would generally say you're at, but you have two options. You can rise to the occasion and try and win with what you've got, or you can keep doing the same thing and keep drawing wrath of the stewards and that sort of thing. So wake up call for sure, but I can be pretty happy about this one.
Well, it was a thoroughly impressive season nonetheless. Very, very sage word said earlier on there, Celine. So massive congratulations, and of course would be delighted to dedicate that to your late father. Congratulations once again, and Celine, will we see you back for season 6?
That's the plan. We've actually made a lot of strides forwards, especially this season with the new format. I know there was an old criticism, it's all about the co-drivers and this, that, and the other thing. But I think all of the people who were in this series proved that we can do it on our own. Although very much credit to all our co-drivers or former co-drivers who are now race engineers, especially Richard Pixley for myself, but big stride forward. And also if the people at Mercedes are listening, more female racers powered by Mercedes-AMG sounds pretty good, and I know they're doing that AMG for women, so poke, nudge, wink.
Excellent stuff. Well, listen, Celine, thank you so much for that, and we'll hopefully speak to you next season. Take it easy.
Thanks very much.
So there we go. Right, we are going to have to speed through things because we've got about 15,000 people to have a chat with. Let us chat then to our GT4 silver champion, April Carlsvard. Let's bring April in. April, we finally did it. We can confirm silver champion. We maybe knew it going into race 2 there, but it makes it a heck of a lot sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah, like there's no doubts, like no ifs or anything, even unlikely if. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit lost for words because I know like this time a year ago I'd never been able to do this, so I've definitely got to say thank you to Queen's Design and especially Honor Rose for all the support that she's given me to make this happen. I couldn't have done it without you, for real.
And obviously, we hear similar things from other teams, April. But I know we're taking the Pro Championship as well. Just give our viewers at home a little idea of how hard you've had to work for this season.
I think it's definitely been hard work for all of us. Like, especially with Honor, who's had to give up her practice time to help me and Ruby out. It's taken a lot of dedication to get this done, around like day jobs and other sim racing commitments and such. So, yeah, it takes a lot of determination to put the hours in a practice, and yeah, it's really paid off. For all
Right.
of us, I think.
The important question, April, is what are you doing to celebrate tonight?
I am not sure yet, to be honest. I will stay up late, chatting with friends, having a few drinks, I think. I'll start there and see how the evening takes me, because I do still have to work tomorrow.
Well, listen, we'll be phoning in sick for you for tomorrow. But listen, April,
amazing.
Congratulations again. Will we see you back for season 6?
I don't know. We'll see how things line up. I'd like to, just because I've made a lot of great friends here, and I'd definitely love to see everyone again. Especially Jenny. You were so quick out there. Like, this would have been your championship under better circumstances, and congrats Abby for doing so well as well. Congrats to Ruby for second. I know it's been a difficult day. Thank you to all my friends in the chat as well. Oh, thank you so much for being here, everyone.
Well, listen, that wasn't a no, so April Carlsbad confirmed for season 6. I'm telling it right now, folks. But listen, April, congratulations. Enjoy the night and enjoy your championship win.
I will. Thank you so much. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Fantastic stuff. And finally, last but not least, before we bring in everybody else, let's bring in your pro champion from tonight, making it 2 out of 2 and topping off in incredible style. Congratulations to Honor Rose. Honor, an amazing season. It would only be fitting to take the final 2 wins of the season, but really, you and Alu were just in a class of your own this year.
Yeah, in fact, I think for like maybe half of the races, she was faster than me. She just could not get past, but she was faster than me for like half the season. So really happy to take these 2 wins to get the title.
And obviously, a lot of work went into the season, not just for your own championship, but on behalf of Queen's Design. We were hearing from your teammates there, from Ruby and from April. What does that mean to have had such a dominant display as a whole in Queen's Design?
It means a lot. It really does, especially because these last 2 races, we also were preparing another championship, VCOX LF Motorsport Flexstream that I talked about, I think, in Imola. So we were preparing basically every round. We were preparing 2 races every time in different cars. So yeah, that was challenging to say the least. But yeah, really proud to have done this and to end the year like this, especially. That's really cool.
And then finally, obviously, the question hangs about over season 6. Will you be back? And more importantly, will Queen's Design be back in as well?
I can't make any promise on that, unfortunately. That'll depend on the schedule and on our schedule as well. So we'll have to see.
It's still not a no, so I'm keeping my hopes up for that, Honor. But listen, it's been an absolute pleasure watching over not just yourself, but all of the fields here for more female racers for season 5. Congratulations, and we do hope, honestly, that we see you back on the grid next year.
Thank you. I just want to give a shout out to Ruby and April, who have done phenomenal job, really, to get where they are right now. And I expect, if we come back for season 6, I expect they'll be in pro.
Well, that's certainly more than likely on the cards, Honor, and we'll be watching out for you back out on the run track. Congratulations again.
Thank you. See ya. Happy holidays, everyone.
So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Honor Rose, that is our championship leaders. You heard there from Honor Rose, from April Carlsbad, and from Celine Witcher. Sam, we're rapidly running out of time here, but what a season that was. Some final thoughts from yourself.
It was just an absolutely an amazing season. I'm really, really proud and honoured to been able to join you in the comms box for all of the action. Can't wait for the next season. It's just been one of those championships where there's just been so much excitement and stuff to talk about up and down the grid. Quite often, and as commentators, we end up just talking about people at the front, but there's been stories up and down the grid. When we've had drivers competing in their very, very first online race ever. Drivers coming in halfway through the championship and just giving such a great display that makes you think, what would be if they had been in the championship from the beginning. Drama, intrigue, we've had it all. It's been absolutely fantastic to commentate on, and I have enjoyed every second of it.
Awesome stuff. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure, Sam, to have you on board. And our commentary booth has been absolutely filled by everyone that's in the waiting room. Because all we've got time to say is a huge thank you to everyone at home for watching. And I'm going to let everybody in here say thank you and good night. So everyone that's in here just now, if you want to say it on the count of three, you can say thank you and good night. So 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Good night.